All right, here we go. And I don't get to play first, so do I want to keep this hand? We'll keep it. See how this goes. Let's see here. Oh. He put a card on top of his library. Affinity. What's the best thing to blow engineering explosive for against Affinity? Signal Pest really hurts against my deck. Let's see here. If I'm confident I'm going to hit it for one, then I don't want to lay my Mox Opal, that's for sure. I do need to get rid of that Signal Pest at some point, so I think one's a good gauge. So we're going to go ahead and lay the Mox Opal. But I'm not going to show him this card yet. I'm going to go ahead and Stirrings. I'm going to keep the Engineer Explosive secret for a minute. And we'll pull a Lantern. Okay. Of course, Steel Overseer. I don't really care about that so much. I might go a different route with my Engineer Explosives if you can't tell. It doesn't seem like he's too explosive right now, so I'm kind of holding my judgment on what I should do with that right now. He doesn't have any colored mana yet, so let's see here. But he might have just not laid his colored mana because he didn't need it. Yeah, I'm thinking that I don't necessarily need to lay out my explosives just yet again. Let's see what comes up. I want him to use a Steel Overseer so that he can't attack with the Signal Pest. I have enough land, I could just blow my Engineering Explosives for 0, but it doesn't really do me a whole lot right at the moment. Okay, we'll go ahead and get this out of his hand, or not out of his hand, but We'll give him another land there. That seems good. Plus we have the Inventor's Fair paying me back a life every turn. So that's pretty nice as well. Okay, our tertiary land, so we'll do that. I'm actually going to go ahead and cast this for 0 just to get it out of my hand. He really doesn't have anything relevant at the moment, so this might have just locked him out automatically. Depends what cards are in his hand. He's taking a long time. I don't want to jinx myself, but maybe he's considering whether or not he can even win this game at this point. I don't know why he would be burning this much of his clock right now. One of the things I like about Lantern is there's so many lines of play, and they're not all wrong. Sometimes it's just more of an opinion on which way you should go. I know a lot of people try to get into math and things like that, and of course that's relevant, but sometimes there can be multiple lines of play that are not wrong. And I've run into that with the comments on some of my other videos. Someone said, well, I would have done this. And I say, well, that would have been fine. You know, there's no reason that you have to do everything that I'm doing, necessarily. I tend to play a little conservative when I'm playing Lantern. If they have a dead card on top, I let them draw it. I might not mill them at all, just so that I can get more mill rocks out and really establish a firm lock. Yeah, I think this game's pretty much over for him. It's game 2 time. Plating is a card that I do not want him to have. Just in general, it's just not a Lantern-friendly card. So we'll go ahead and mill it. Although right now, he doesn't really have a way to attack with anybody. You just go ahead and get rid of it now, and then you don't have to worry about it. And once again, he's burning his clock. And I don't know why he's burning his clock. Bitter Blossom has a pretty cool picture there. Okay. All right, yeah. So he goes ahead and concedes that game. All right, so Affinity. So we're going to put in some Seal of Primordiums, some Ancient Grudges. Engineer Explosives can be really good against Affinity. The only thing I don't like about Engineer Explosives is that if I put it, I could put it on 2 or 0 and it does all right. Putting it on 1 really hurts me. You kind of have to play to it, as you've already seen. He might side in an Ancient Grudge, but it's not worth eating a deck slot for the Graft Digger's Cage. I'd rather just have a welding jar. Let's see here. Collective Brutality is good because it can kill annoyances like Signal Pest and things like that. We really need to do some trimming here. I'm not too worried about needing hexproof against Affinity. Executioner's Capsule will hit any creature in this deck. This is just non-black. It's not like the old Terror. It's non-black, non-artifact. Aether Grid is really good against Affinity. Maelstrom Pulse is good against Affinity. Now, I've put in a lot of cards that I can't Ancient Stirrings for. So a lot of times when I have to trim deck space, I will trim a Stirrings or two. I've gotten a lot of criticism for that, but it is what it is. I find that it's really helped me in a lot of areas. Pithing Needle, looks like a Pithing Needle can go in. And we're going to go ahead and trim 1 Invention. And like I said, Engineer Explosives really doesn't... It hurts me more than helps me against Affinity, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and peel that out now that I've seen exactly what I'm putting in here. So that's what we're going to start with and see how that works. I have a pretty strong sideboard against Affinity, I feel. I haven't gotten to really play test against Affinity using the whir deck, so we'll see how that all goes. Now this hand here, it seems like it can be a make or break hand. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth a mulligan. That's a rough hand because these are triple blue, obviously, and I only have 1 blue source. Affinity's pretty quick. I think we're going to go ahead and mulligan this. I think we can do better. Okay. Not the best, but we're going to keep it. I don't like going 5 very much, at least we have our lantern. We'll go ahead and put Bridge on top. Ink Moth. And of course, I get punished immediately for naming cloth with a cranial plating. Ornithopter, of course, can get under the bridge, and then he can attach cranial plating as an instant if he needs to. I mean, he would need 2 black sources. In general, they don't normally have trouble getting that, but we'll see. I'll probably have to whir for another pithing needle. However, I don't really have any form of control. Ugh. Ugh. All right, well, about that. Whir's an instant, so I can only get black mana from this at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and see what they draw. I'm going to stop them in their draw step. All right, that's fine. That doesn't matter. Yeah. Cranial plating. Okay. Go ahead, sir. I am taking some annoyance damage here, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment. Not enough to sack a lantern, because sacking a lantern would end up, I mean, this is my defense right now if he happens to draw, or happens to be about to draw something really troublesome. So we're going to go ahead and just take a little bit of punishment. I don't know how far I want that punishment to go. That's, of course, a little more punishment for me. And he concedes because he sees the Seal of Primordium on top of the library. Because the game's over, I'm going to start grabbing life. I could grab an artifact if I really needed to. And I could pay for Spell Pierce all day long because I've been drawing nothing but land. So, looks like it worked out pretty well. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I always appreciate the comments. And I will see you next time. And a little side note as well. I mean, obviously, I don't get to pick who I play against. It's just whatever happens to be my opponent at the time. I've been very fortunate because almost every time I've hit somebody different. I've hit elves, I've hit blue-white control. I hit wildfire once, which was kind of crazy, And in rated games, a lot of times you play pretty normal decks, for lack of a better term. And I was wondering when I would hit Affinity, and I'm glad I finally did. But either way, I don't play a lot of these games. It's not like I play 6 of them and then say, oh, this one's good, I post it. I play 1 and I post it. I wanted to post a couple where I would lose, but since I've started doing this, I've been fortunate and haven't lost yet. So I don't want you to think just because I'm posting a video that I'm automatically going to win. I just have happened to win every single one that I've done so far. So I appreciate you guys watching. See you next time.